is Callie Cox. This is a Day to Be Me podcast.
With Alexander Hodge,
Kevin,
Christine Rowland.
We are going to be talking about my recent blog post, Time to Tell the Truth. Okay, Alex, do you want to take it away?
Yes. So it's time to tell the truth. And we don't always know what the truth is, because sometimes we don't know. But we know, however, we do. The good thing is that we do know when we're lying. We can feel it. We can feel it when we're not telling the truth, because it's a disjunction of meaning. So, and it's not in the harmony with the fabric of reality. So when we lie about something, we know when we did. Not always, but usually it's almost always the case that we know when we're lying. And then what winds up happening is that reality eventually snaps itself back. So what I mean by that is that the truth eventually gets found out based on reality, and the lie that was told, that our attempt to warp the fabric of reality, and now reality has snapped back. So the consequences that come out of that: first off, a disjunction of meaning; second, lack of trust; and third, you and the people around you are not going to know what to do next, because whatever was said is not based on the truth. Who are we going to believe? So that makes that very difficult. And how are we going to know what to do next?
So our first topic is we are going to give examples of lies one at a time, of what lies we made and what happened. So you want to go first?
Yeah. So it's interesting because some of the things that I have lied about, I sometimes make my experiences grandiose on occasion. Sometimes I'll lie about like I'll add an extra $5,000 to what I make in a year to make it sound better.
Yeah.
Sometimes what can happen when I do that, say if I enter that into my taxes. Well, that's actually not what I earn within a year. It may be less, it may be more, but I actually have to enter the honest amount of what I make in the year. So even with that, warping that fabric of reality eventually has its consequences. So, or I'll lie about an experience that I've had and see, these days, like if I lied to you about something where I played the victim mindset, where I actually wasn't the victim, I was actually the one that was causing the problems. I can't do that anymore. I've matured to a point now where I actually have to call the person back and reach out to them and say, hey man, I lied to you about this. This is, I was kind of playing the victim mindset here. Not the victim mindset now. I'm the bulldog mindset. Shout out to Bulldog Mindset. Another YouTube channel, and how to be a man, and how to bring on, kind of stuff. Kevin, you may have heard of it. But however, when we tell the truth, when we do tell the truth, it's in harmony with reality. It's that line between chaos and order, the yin and the yang, when we feel it. We also feel that as well, and it feels good. Like it's almost like a relief that we can rely on the things that we say as to be true.
Yeah.
One time, and sometimes that can be difficult, but the payoff in the long run is worth it, because the trust and the meaning remain. Trust and meaning remain, and those are two very important points in life: is trust and meaning.
That is so true.
Yep.
Okay. So, Kev, do you have any examples of lies you have made and what has happened?
Hard at me think.
It could be anything small or.
Oh. Yeah. Sometimes mom cannot tell if I lie if you look in my eyes or I act in a strange pattern too.
So
I
you,
have a little bit of technical difficulties here. Okay.
Yeah.
so I heard what he
Sorry.
said. So what Kevin's saying is the micro expressions and the ways that we can tell if somebody's lying is you're saying is pretty obvious with you. So
Yeah.
we're able to kind of do a little micro expression. You have a weird pattern to when you lie. So
Yeah.
that's okay. So that's a way that you can catch yourself.
Yeah.
You can kind of catch yourself in the act. It's like, oh nope, actually, sorry, I lied about that. Here's what really happened. You know, yeah.
Kev actually brought something to my attention a few years ago. That one of the ways you can tell if, and he can correct me on this if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can tell if someone is not being honest with you is they get a glossy kind of dead look to
Oh,
their
yeah.
eyes.
They do.
And then if they're telling the truth, you can see the response, you can see the
Reaction.
The
you can
response
see
is more
the
fluid.
eyes. It's
respo-
definitely in the eyes. If you look at their eyes, you can tell.
Yep.
It's all
Mhm.
Christine, do you have any?
Mhm.
Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
I actually, while you guys were talking, I was actually thinking of one.
Alright.
Okay.
To relate to the topic. Here's actually a good one. Body language. If, for example, if my grandpa can tell that, I lied to him about something and my body shifts in a certain way, then he can tell that I'm lying
Mhm.
just by looking at my body language and how I'm moving.
Yep.
Right,
Will.
right.
I know that too.
So are you able to know when you're lying too? Like, are you
Yeah,
able to know it? Okay.
yeah, because
So,
I'm the one doing it,
yep.
and I'm
And
well aware of it too.
Of, oh, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Yep.
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
you can feel it. You can
Um,
feel that
Yeah.
disjunction of meaning. And to tell the truth, here's a true statement about that. It makes us weak. And
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you
I
have the
agree.
arrogance, you say, oh well, I can get away with it. Well, only for a certain time. But then
yeah, if it's
you get kind of a weird
Yeah.
feeling, and that weird feeling grows, and it weakens you more when it comes closer to when the truth finally comes out.
Yep.
yeah, me something that I have lied about. Let's see. When I was younger, I used to sneak into my parents' cabinet with their food to sneak food. It wasn't that I wasn't getting enough food. I just wanted food, and my mom would come into the kitchen and be like, "What do you have in your hands?" And I would say nothing. I don't have anything, with a dead look to my face, like I don't have anything. She would check my hands and she'd say, "What's this?" Um, Even small lies like that are can be disastrous to somebody's trust in you.
The
You're gonna
trust.
lie
Yep.
about
Yep.
small like that. What else are you gonna lie about?
hmm
Hmm.
I got a story to tell about a golfer. Actually, funny thing. Because
Okay.
there was this golfer I heard on another podcast. They were talking about this golfer who would move the ball, and one of the ladies that was with the guy that was watching this guy cheat at golf warned him, do not do business with this guy because he's cheating at golf. It's like, well, whatever, it's a golf game, you know. And he's like, no, like, careful, like what
Yep.
he does, he might be doing in other areas of his life too. Sure enough,
Exactly.
sure
Yep.
enough, sure enough, that this golfer was fraudulently like fraudulent loans. Sure enough,
Mm,
so he was lying in other areas too. So one of the types of enemies to avoid is ambitious, lazy people. People who think big and they cheat, but they don't really have the skill sets to do that kind of stuff, and yet they try to cheat and They try and
Some
make it up change, but they're not
are
honest
Like,
asking
about
that.
it, and it makes them
like
weak.
in casinos, they always cheat. Yeah,
Yeah.
the money.
So one
And
thing I
and and
want
it's because they're weak because they can't. Go ahead, Callie.
one thing I want to add to that is once you start a lie, more lies develop. So if you think you're going to get caught, more lies will develop to hide that truth. Just don't lie.
Yep.
You have to keep building up that chain of lies.
And you have the power to also tell the truth and strip away that chain and actually come out with what
Yeah.
actually happened. We all have the power to do that, and as soon as we do that, it's so much
Great.
better.
We feel great getting
Yeah.
all that off our chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do.
I agree to that. Yeah.
Yep. In fact, just today I was out with we were buying a fridge, and another thing that is good to tell the truth about is on occasion is to tell the truth about how we feel. Now, there's a
Yeah.
degree to that where we can't do that. We have to
Mhm.
separate our behaviors from our feelings.
Yeah,
But
hide it.
but with people that we can actually talk about it to in our blue circle and our green circle of
Yeah.
relationships domains. And I think we'll get into that sometime other time. But those are people that we can talk to about these things and actually be true about how we're feeling about something. So, for example, I was just out today with my dad, and we were buying a fridge. Now, one of the things that I don't like to tell the truth about is how I feel when my ego plays psychological games with me, especially when I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know how to do something. When I first learn about something, it makes me feel young, dumb. It makes me feel young
Yeah.
and dumb. So one of the things that I felt kind of young and dumb about was I had no idea that buying a fridge that we had to watch out for what side the hinge needs to be on when we fit the fridge and when it gets delivered. I didn't know that. My dad knew
I
that. I
did.
didn't. So my dad he kind of like questioned me to ask them about that. I had no idea. It didn't even cross my mind. And that level of ignorance made me feel, and I couldn't lie about that. I could not keep that reserved to myself. I had to tell my dad how I actually felt about that. And I did. I said, yeah, Dad, that no, not knowing about the hinge on the fridge, honestly, that made me feel a little bit young and dumb and full of cum. Made me feel
Yep.
like made me feel like made me feel like a young dumb boy. Like that didn't even cross my mind. I mean, how stupid. It's my first time kind of buying a fridge, so it did. It made me feel kind of young. But having told him that truth of how I felt, it
Yeah.
took a weight off of my chest, and I think it took a weight off of his too, because he knows that feeling too. He knows when he was younger, he knows that feeling. He's been there
Yep.
too. It's a psychological warfare that the ego plays on our brains, but I think that's a good thing to talk about and tell the truth about how we feel about that. And that way he knows what to do next. He knows how that feels too. He's been there. He's had the experience and had to learn some of which probably the hard way, as I have. And that makes us feel kind of dumb. But it's good to be able to talk to that and tell the truth about that with people that we can trust in our blue circle. And
Yeah.
and even our green circle of friends.
Yep.
Our next topic we are going to talk about is how can we improve situations and not lie. So those situations that we just discussed, all of us, about the moments that we lied, how could we have gone about that better? And how could we have avoided that lie?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go first.
Mhm.
With the sneaking food thing that I went through, I felt kind of anxious when my mom told me like what's behind her back because I thought I was gonna get caught sneaking.
Yeah.
But the thing is, don't put yourself in the position to have to lie. Had I not been doing the sneaking, then I would not have been put in that position where I'm like, do I tell the truth and lie? If I told the truth, yes, the food would have gotten taken away, which it did
Yeah.
anyway. And second off, I probably wouldn't have been in as much trouble as I was that I lied and got caught lying. Alex?
All right.
Mhm.
So the things that I've told the truth about, and it went well, was when I take ownership and I actually take the blame of something that goes wrong at my job. So
Yep.
say if I haven't counted for something and I forgot to update the counts. It's interesting because one of my teammates got blamed for that, even though it was me, or even though it was kind of both of us. But here's the thing. It wasn't actually him, it was me. So I actually, by raising my hand and saying, nope, that was my fault, I take ownership of this, and then I implement a solution, then I also am honest about my implementation of the solution, and I actually go and do the solution, and I fix it. So taking ownership of what went wrong is great, because then that shows my boss that, oh, this guy's taking ownership. He's actually maybe this could be like a leadership role kind of thing, where he could be trusted to take ownership of a problem and solve it, and even actually have the capability of making a mistake and then also taking honest ownership of that mistake and implementing a
Yeah.
solution and fixing it, but also taking ownership of the solution, honest ownership of the solution. So if the solution goes bad, well, my fault, that was me, but
Yep.
I did my best with my solution.
Something that I want all of us to answer is, how does it feel to tell the truth versus how does it feel to start a lie? Kev, if you want to go first, you can.
Uh, telling the truth takes weight off your chest, but lying hurts you physically and mentally more.
Okay.
Mhm.
Christine,
Um,
how does lying make you feel and telling the truth make you feel?
in my own perspective, lying to somebody and or people that they trust or I trust, when I lie, it doesn't make me feel good after a while. It just eats me up.
Mm-mm.
Like, you know,
That's
but
guilt.
when I reveal, hey, and I pull them aside, hey, I lied to you. This is what happened for real, and I'm sorry if I lied. This is how I can
Mm.
make it up to you.
How does that part feel?
And that's that.
Gets the weight off your shoulders,
It
doesn't it?
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
it does,
It's
yeah.
lighter than air.
yeah,
Yep, exactly.
Alex?
It's light on your feet.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alex?
Yeah, so like when I lied about something, either be exaggerating it or actually telling it something exaggerating the way it actually happened. It's a disjunction of meaning, and the reason that it feels bad is because we actually have to spend a lot of mental energy making up a new reality
Yep.
that's actually not based on reality. It takes a lot of mental energy out of us to come up with the shit. That's kind of explains the dead look in the eye,
Yep.
because you're expending a lot of mental energy on making up that false reality.
Yep.
And that makes me weak. It makes me weak, young. It regresses me. Like, it makes me just dumb. It makes me
Tired.
a dumb
It's like,
boy again. It makes me pretty much beta-tize if I
So,
lie.
how do
So
you feel
instead,
versus that in telling the truth?
when I tell the truth, and even when I tell the truth, and even if it's a hard truth, I feel a lot more powerful. Like, I feel more whole as a human
yep.
being.
Me
It makes me
too.
feel, it makes my feel like, and also the fact that I tell the truth, and now most of the time I do, because I realize that it gives my words gravitas. It gives my words meaning. So when I speak, people listen. Like, they actually take you seriously,
Yeah.
You
because your
have
words start to have some
act-
gravitas. And for every time that we tell the truth and actually use our words based on the truth, then two more decisions pop up in its place exponentially, subconsciously. So the
yeah,
more that we consciously are able to catch ourselves and tell the truth, two more good decisions start to come up in its place exponentially.
exactly.
So the more often we do that, the better off. The same is true when we lie, like Hallie was saying a moment ago. then we have to actually come up with even more and more, and then so that's actually what the Hydra represents in mythology. The Hydra represents the dragon of chaos. That for every head that you cut off, 2 more grow in its place. So every lie that we tell, 2 more stupid decisions grow in its place, and then sometimes that can spiral down out of control.
God of War.
But when you tell the truth, it spirals you upwards.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we consciously pay attention to what we say based on reality, it's going to spiral us upward for every decision that we make.
Yep, and that's where I want to bring the point that you can, when you tell your first lie, you can get into the habit of lying very quickly and very easily. You start telling the truth, the more truthful you are, the more of a habit you have of telling the truth, and you don't have to think about, should I lie? Should I tell the truth? It comes naturally. Alex is actually one of the people that I go to advice the most because of his ability to tell me, hey, this is how it is. He doesn't spare my feelings. He puts me into place and tells me this is how it is. And it helps me because I know he's going to be honest with me. I know he's going to be upfront with me. And yeah, so one thing that I do want to add is if you are in a dangerous situation, like life-threatening or even will give you physical or emotional harm, I am encouraging you to do what you can to get out of that situation. If that means lying to the person who is treating you that way, do it. Do anything you need to get out of dangerous situations. But as soon as you're clear of that, make sure you tell the truth. If it's for selfish reasons, like, oh, I just don't want to get caught because this person's going to get mad at me, and just for selfish reasons like that, don't lie. There's a difference. There's a difference between moral and selfishness.
And sometimes it is okay to reserve information, to keep it to ourselves. Some things are actually okay because if it's for survival, like Callie was saying, if it's for survival and for self-preservation and longevity, sometimes it's okay. It's actually a good thing to withhold information if it's going to do harm or even cause harm. Now, however, telling the truth about something to cause harm for good reasons, now that's a different story, because then that's something that actually needs to happen. But like Callie was saying, sometimes it's okay to withhold information as long as we're not lying outside of what the fabric of reality is. If it is the fabric of reality, but we have to withhold information for self-preservation, that's okay too. That's perfectly fine. Because then that helps you and also helps everybody around you.
Kev, Christine, do you have anything to add?
Keep telling the truth and don't.
Absolutely.
Or at least don't lie, because we don't know what the truth is. But we know when we're lying.
I mean, if I got some, even if the situation depends on it, that also depends on whether that should decide whether you should lie or you should not lie, depending on what situation you're in.
Yeah, it depends on the situation you're in.
It all depends on that. It all depends on that.
Like if you are in danger or if you are not in danger.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you in danger?
I would lean more towards withholding information in that situation rather than lying. Because lying means that we're warping the fabric of reality.
Yeah, there are also times where lying can save someone's life if they are in an abusive or domestic violence situation.
Yes.
If you cannot get away with withholding someone, because some people that are abusers will say, what did you do, or how did this happen? And they will not accept silence for an answer. So that is when you have to be careful and kind of think about what you're going to say ahead of time, and whether it's going to get you hurt or injured or whether you're going to be safe.
Yep. So that's a tactical maneuver. That's a strategic maneuver. So that's good too. Okay. Yeah. Because then you're actually being true to yourself and your own preservation, survival. So You're actually being true to yourself doing that
Well,
as well.
our next topic we are going to be talking about is stoicism. Actually, Alex
yeah.
actually introduced me to this a few days ago. So tell them a little summary of what it is and
Mhm.
Sure. So Stoicism is the ability to separate behavior from emotional state of duress. So being able to be calm and stoic and zen, even when problems are arising, being able to separate the emotional behaviors from the mind and actually being able to step in and solve a problem and let me give you a good example of this. What happened at work one time is where things were just chaotic and
Yeah.
everybody was stressed
there.
out. Everybody up the front end was stressed out. And Mark, like this is the trait that I got from my GM, from our general manager, was the stoicism, the ability to be able to actually just go into it and separate the emotional, instead I
Yeah.
actually go in and work it anyway, because in stoicism, because sometimes you have to when you're dealing with customers and things are chaotic. And also whenever there's a void of leadership, when that happens, when somebody who's stoic who can step in and say, all right, lock it up, guys, we got this, I can do this, I can solve this problem, and then that's when the a void of leadership can sometimes happen, where someone stoic steps in and actually solves the problem, and it helps the team around you and yourself as well. And sometimes it's like, oh, thank God he's here. Thank God that happened. Thank God that happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stoicism is a very useful tool. I recommend researching it. Like what's his name? There's the Stoic philosophers from like Greece and Rome that
Yeah.
and
know.
yeah, Kevin, you may have
Uh,
heard of this.
Yep.
okay.
Playing video. Assassin's
Well,
Creed Greek
well,
mythology.
yeah. Yeah,
I
Oh,
have
so
that
oh,
game.
I mean, okay, well, how about how the assassins can carry themselves? You realize how stoic they are? How
Yeah.
patient they are when they sneak in there. They're very patient, they're very stoic, and
Yep.
they
mhm.
only use muscle when they need to solve the problem.
Yep.
And that is very powerful. So stoicism is a very powerful thing, and I think that I believe in Assassin's Creed. I'm pretty sure in the training they train them to be stoic.
Yeah. Jumping into haystacks and all that.
Ah, well, that's parkour. That's a physical thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, this wraps up this podcast. I This is a day to be me again with Alex, myself, Sarah Callie Cox, Kevin Gellinger, and Christine
Yep.
Nolan. We
And
will see
go ahead
podcast.
and promote your website real quick. Tell
Oh
people
yeah,
what
my
it is.
website is www.adaytobeme.com, where you can find a book that I published. You can find our blog, our audio and visual podcasts, as well as book reviews and a member site. So definitely come check us out.
All
Bye.
right. Bye, guys.